What's going on, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be going through and filling out my official 2026 March Madness bracket. Credentials for me: I've won my family league twice in the past 12 years, so I think I know what I'm doing. And that was a joke if you couldn't tell, but yeah, before any further ado, let's get into it. First game, Duke versus Siena. Don't really need to think about this too much. The East bracket is absolutely loaded with talent, but for this game, it's not really going to be a problem for Duke. But in the round of 32, it might get a little spicy after they play the winner of Ohio State versus TCU. I keep seeing this as a big game. This is going to be a great game, super competitive. I think that this is the best 8-9 matchup, but I'm going to be putting Ohio State through. In the next round, we got St. John's versus Northern Iowa. I don't know what people are thinking who are saying that this is an upset watch. I think St. John's is an absolute wagon this year. I actually think they're a better team than they were last year, but the ranking doesn't show that this year. They're a 5 seed. I believe last year they were 2. I got St. John's moving on. And then finally, we have Kansas versus California Baptist. Honestly, I don't even know very much about California Baptist. I guess they must have won their division or something. Kansas just has too much NBA talent, has too many good players on their team to lose this game. They're getting at least through the round of 64. Then we got Louisville versus South Florida, another one that's been a popular upset pick. I don't see it. Louisville ranks very highly with both their offensive and defensive ratings. I think they're within the top 10 in both. Very rare for teams to be doing that well, and so I've got Louisville in this game. Next, we have Michigan State versus North Dakota. North Dakota is always going to be a feisty team, and Michigan State, although I'm not fully bought into them, as you can see, there's 279,000 people picking North Dakota State, and a lot of people are into Michigan State. I'm one of them. I don't have them going so far, but I do think that they'll be able to at least sneak out a win here. Then we have UCLA versus UCF. I wish this wasn't a matchup because these are both teams that I think could go pretty far in the tournament, but unfortunately they've been put up against each other in the first round here, and in spite of everything, I think UCLA is going to take it. And then finally, we got UConn Furman. This isn't the same Furman team. I know people like them. I know they're a name that people have seen for years in the past, but UConn's good enough to take them down this year. And now we move down south where Florida has a much easier path to the championship, or at least to the Final Four versus Duke. But let's just get into it. Florida, of course, going to win the first game, 1 seed for a reason versus a 16. Very rarely the upsets happen there. In the 8-9 Clemson, Iowa, I'm going to actually take Iowa here. I see they're 2.5 point favorites. I think that's about accurate. I think Iowa's very good, but I think it'll be a competitive game. Clemson, of course, very good in the ACC, but just doesn't have the talent to really compete with Iowa. I think the fact that Iowa's got Bennett Sturtz is going to push them over the edge here. Vanderbilt, McNeese. McNeese is again going to be another popular upset team. The numbers might not show it, but on social media I keep seeing gasser bar on them. A lot of that's because they're Aura guy, the guy who walks in with the speaker, which is pretty hilarious. But I don't really think that they've got the juice to take down Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's got another guy on NBA Draft Twitter's love list of Tyler Tanner, I apologize, who's good, but will he be an NBA player? Maybe not, but at least for the tournament, I think he can really make Vanderbilt a threat and very competitive to win some games. Now we got Nebraska-Troy. Nebraska's good, but Troy's also really good. I see they're 13.5 point favorites, but as we know, that really doesn't mean much in March. Nebraska's got a lot more talent than Troy does. They played in a harder schedule this year. I know it might not be popular to put so few upsets, but I think they're going to win the game here. Now we have North Carolina versus VCU. I think North Carolina is going to really struggle without having Caleb Wilson out there. He's busted his hand, and so he's not going to be able to play. And so I actually think that VCU is going to be able to take this one. It's going to be my first real upset pick. I'd like North Carolina. I know they're still going to be a good team and probably will win the game, but I think I should put an upset somewhere, and I think it'll be VCU over them in the first round. Another one where I've been sort of considering taking somebody is this game of Penn versus Illinois. TJ Power, the former 5-star recruit who's taken a little bit of time to get to his place, but now that he's been at Penn, he's been hooping. He had 44 in the Ivy League championship game. I don't think that they've got the talent to take down Illinois. It's unfortunate for them. I think if they pulled a different 3 seed, they'd have a better shot. But I think going up against Illinois will take this game themselves. Now, St. Mary's versus Texas A&M. Again, I know a lot of people are going to be picking St. Mary's. I think I've got Texas A&M here. St. Mary's can't compete with anybody who can run. They're stuck in their conference. I live close to St. Mary's, so I'm a fan of them. I've been a fan in the past, but I don't think that they've got the juice to compete with Texas A&M and the athletes that they've got. Plus, I've been burned by them so many times in the past. I get it's a different year, but at some point you can't bet on the same team every year, and I usually am a big fan of St. Mary's. I don't think that they can take down A&M this year. And finally, Houston versus Idaho. I think Houston's going to run circles around these boys. 23.5 points is the spread. I think that would be more of a conversation, but they're winning that game for sure. Here out west is one of my favorite teams in the entire thing, Arizona. I think that they're going to make the championship. I'm just going to spoil that now. I think that they should have no problem going through Long Island. And then where it gets interesting is Villanova versus Utah State. every time there's an 8-9 matchup, they're always interesting. 2.5 point spread on ESPN, opened at 1.5. I don't think that Villanova has the same juices they have in years past. I know that they've got Duke Brennan, who's very good, Tyler Perkins, who's very good, but I think Utah State's going to have the shooting. Also, Villanova, when they've played against legitimate teams, I know they beat Wisconsin, but that was almost 3 months ago, so really not that applicable to our situation. And against all the other big teams that they played, they've lost against. I think Utah State has beat the quality teams that they've played against. Granted, they're not the same quality as Villanova. I think Utah State's got them in this one. Wisconsin High Point, I think Wisconsin's got them. They did so well in the Big Ten tournament. They're shooting. They're red hot. I know people are going to be excited about High Point, but their defensive efficiency has just been so bad. I don't think that that's going to be something that Wisconsin even needs to worry about. 9.5 point spreads, I'd probably even take that. Next up, we've got Arkansas versus Hawaii. This game's in Portland, which is a little strange. Poor Arkansas. It's going to be a home game for Hawaii, but Hawaii, again, is going to have to travel very far. I think Arkansas's got them in the bag. Darius Acup's going to be one of the most fun players to watch the entire tournament. Now we have BYU versus Texas versus North Carolina versus the winner of the Texas game. I think BYU's got at least the first round. I don't know how far they're going to go without Richie Saunders. I think if they had him still, they would be a legitimate threat in this division, but they don't have him this year. And now we're going to have Gonzaga. I mean, really no threat here versus Kennesaw State. Gonzaga always is going to win at least one game. It's who they are. It's in their DNA. They're a 3 seed. They're actually very highly ranked in the KenPom rankings, but I just don't think Kennesaw State's got the juice to keep up with them. Now Miami versus Missouri. I know this is another one. It's always the 7-10 games that people think are going to be close and they're very divided on, but I think Miami's really got it in the bag this year. They've been a good team the whole year. They've got the shooters. They've got the playmakers. They've got the quality wins. They beat Florida, who's a 1. They beat Kentucky, who's not as good this year, but still a solid team. They beat Vanderbilt by 1 point. They've won the games. They've won the close ones. I think Miami's got it this year. And finally, Purdue versus Queens. This is Purdue's year. Braden Smith's a senior. I think that they're going to wipe through Queens. Now down to the Midwest bracket with the 1 seed Michigan. I don't think that this game's particularly close. Michigan's a wagon. They've proved it this year. They won the Big Ten. They're going to steamroll. Next, we have Georgia versus St. Louis, and another game that's very on the fence. People are on the fence. Who's going to win? How's Georgia going to do? How is St. Louis going to do against a real team? And there's been a lot of gas around St. Louis. Everybody knows Robbie Avila, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from Indiana State a couple years back. But I think Georgia just has the swagger. They've got the confidence. They are playing in the SEC, a very competitive league. But I actually think that St. Louis is going to win this game. I know a lot of people are probably going to be riding with Georgia. I mean, they're the favorite on ESPN as of right now, but I think St. Louis has got this one, at least in round 1. Next up, we have Texas Tech versus Akron. Akron, sweetheart team. Everybody's into them. I don't see it. I don't really buy into them action. I know it's a fun conference, but realistically, these guys aren't winning any games come March. I think Texas Tech has got this one in the bag, even without JT Toppin. I think Christian Anderson will get it done for them. And then we've got Alabama versus Hofstra. Hofstra, another team that I've seen gas around on my timeline. I don't buy it. Once again, I think Alabama is just, if you blink your eyes, you are going to go down by 20 points against them. LeBaron Philon, of course, Aiden Holloway, the shooters. I think Alabama is a good team. I think they're going to take this one easily, at least in the first round. And now the darling team, Miami, Ohio versus Tennessee. I actually want to pick Miami, Ohio here over Tennessee. I just don't know about SMU, but I guess in theory, if I'm taking them to beat SMU, or if I think that they can beat Tennessee, I think they can beat SMU as well. You know, I don't believe in Tennessee. I don't really believe in Nate Amen. I think he could just as easily go 3 for 17 in this first game versus having a good game. I'm going to take the winner of Miami, Ohio versus SMU. And now we've got Virginia versus Wright State. Virginia just 1 game away from winning the ACC tournament. Close game. They locked up Cam Boozer. Wright State Raiders have no one on that level. Virginia should wipe them here. And then Kentucky, Santa Clara. I live again near Santa Clara, so I think this could be a fun game. Could be exciting. I'm actually going to take them here over Kentucky. I think Kentucky just with they really haven't been able to be the same team without John Calipari. And maybe in March that'll be a good thing for them, considering Calipari would lose all his games in March. But I think Santa Clara's got this one, actually. I think it'll be a fun game. And then finally, Iowa State versus Tennessee State. As much as I'm not a believer in Iowa State, every year they let me down. Every year they're going to be predicted to go far but end up losing big games. This year I think is the most talented team they've had in a long time, and I think that they should win this game easily. And now on to the round of 32, where it's going to get a little bit more exciting. We've got Duke versus Ohio State. Again, Ohio State, are they a feisty 8 seed? Yes. Are they beating Duke? No. Duke is such a wagon. I know Caleb Foster's out. I know that Mbonga is going to be out for a little bit. They said he might be able to play in the tournament, but we'll end up seeing about that. Hopefully in the second round and beyond he'll be able to play. But I think Duke will have no problem making it into the second weekend. Now, St. John's versus Kansas. This is going to be a really good game, really exciting game. Zuby Ejiofor, I haven't watched that much St. John's this year, but he's been a dog. He's been able to fight with anybody on the rebounds. He's ripped. I think he's going to be very exciting. Darren Peterson, of course, is the big name for Kansas. Will he even try, though, in the tournament? I'd like to think so. I mean, his draft stock's sort of been going down because people just don't know about him. Does he love the game of basketball? Again, I don't know. But I think he can have a big March here and really boost his draft stock. Now we have Louisville versus Michigan State. I've got Louisville here. I think Michigan State is a little bit overrated. I know that they've got Fears. I know that they got Cohen Carr, who can really dunk, but that's about all he is. He's sort of a run and dunk merchant. Versus Louisville, who's just an efficient team. I think they're going to take down Michigan State here. And then UCLA versus UConn. This is one of my sleeper picks, but UCLA has been red hot recently, and UConn sort of stumbled into this game. They lost against St. John's. They didn't even look like they were a competent team against them. So I think I'm actually going to take UCLA here, one of the most dangerous 7 seeds in recent memory. Now we're moving down south here, Florida versus Iowa. This is a game that I really want to pick Iowa, but I just don't think I'm able to do it. They just don't have the same firepower as Florida has. Florida spent the big money. They've got their guys. They're a well-coached team. Will Xavier Lee have a big game here versus Bennett Sturts? Maybe get himself drafted? I don't know. I think Sturts is such a dog. I think he's a little short for me, but in March, guard plays what matters. Iowa's got the guards better than Florida, but I think Florida just has too much talent on the wings and in the big man depth. I think they'll be able to take down Iowa here. And then Vanderbilt versus Nebraska. Again, another team where it's just like a who do you pick here? Nebraska's not been that hot coming into the tournament. Vanderbilt's been red hot. They just won the SEC tournament, if I'm not mistaken. I think they just beat Florida. I think that would be a fun rematch to have in the round of 16 in the second weekend. I think I'm going to take Vanderbilt here to go further. VCU versus Illinois. VCU, as frisky as they are, as fun as they are. I know that they're a good team. They beat North Carolina in my bracket. I think Illinois just got a little bit too much juice. They're going to have a pretty free run to the playoffs with Penn and VCU getting to the Sweet 16. But I just don't think that that either VCU or Penn will be able to take them out. I think they'll have close games, but I think ultimately they'll prevail. And then I've got Houston over Texas A&M. For Houston, it's a pretty free run to the playoffs. I keep saying playoffs. When I say playoffs, I mean Sweet 16. I think Houston's got them beat here. I think they've got the talent, they've got the competitive edge, and they've got the hunger. I think they're going to take it. Now going back to the West, Arizona versus Utah State. Unfortunately for Utah State, this is where their run ends. Arizona is such a wagon. I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to find a team in this division or in any division that I think will take them out, but it definitely won't be Utah State. Now Wisconsin versus Arkansas, another game that people are very up in arms about. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a fun, electric game. I've got Arkansas. I think Akoff, again, is just too tough. Calipari, say what you will about him. He does have his problems in March. I just don't think Wisconsin's got the talent outside of the three-point shooting. They're too volatile of a team in order to win this game. And if they're off, I think Arkansas can win in a gritty match. Now, BYU Gonzaga, again, as I said before, if Richie Saunders was playing, this could be more competitive, but I think Gonzaga is going to be able to pull this one out. AJ Dybantsa, he could have 40 points all he likes. Rob Wright, he could have 20 points, but he will shoot about 10 for 30 from the field. I think Gonzaga is going to take this one. I think they're a better coach team. I think they're a better conditioned team, and I think they'll be able to take down BYU here. And then Miami, Purdue. I think this is Purdue's year. Again, Braden Smith's a senior. They've got the center play. They've got the wing play. I think they'll be able to take down Gonzaga. This is a boring conference for me. I know 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm not going to pick a team that I don't believe in just because it's, exciting. I think that these are the best 4 teams in the conference. And now finally in the Midwest, we're starting with Michigan versus St. Louis. Again, St. Louis, fun team. That's sort of the problem with these 9 seeds. They're all fun teams, but they're just not, they don't have the talent to stack up with these 1 seeds with all the NIL and with all the transfers that they've got. Michigan's going to take this game pretty easily. I'd be interested to see what the spread was, but they don't have it yet. Next up, we have Texas Tech versus Alabama. Again, a game that I would really want to pick Texas Tech, but without JT Toppin for the tournament, I think that Alabama's going to take him down. They still have him on the top players list, but I know he's got that foot injury he's been dealing with, so even if he comes back, he won't be 100%. Alabama can run with anybody. I think they're going to take this game. Next, we got Virginia versus Miami, Ohio versus /SMU. It's hard for me to put a team that I don't even know who it is into the Sweet 16. I know it's happened before, about 2-3 years ago, but realistically this year Virginia's got it. And finally, Santa Clara versus Iowa State. Again, a 1, 2, 3, 4 bracket, but I'm not going to just be picking the teams. If I don't believe in them, Miami, Ohio would be a fun story. They're not the same talent on another team like Virginia. And then Santa Clara, again, too new. Haven't been in the tournament for a long time. It's not like they got J-Dub this year. They don't have Paz this year as much as he's a bad NBA player. He would have been a very good player in college. And I just don't think that they've got the talent to take down Iowa State. And now into week 2 with the Sweet 16. We have Duke, Kansas. I think this would be actually a very exciting game to watch. Duke versus Kansas, Darren Peterson versus Cam Boozer. If both these teams can get here, this will be much must-see TV. I think Duke's got them. I think they've got this bracket. As feisty as it is, I mean, going up against Siena, who cares? Ohio State is a decent team. Kansas is a pretty good team. I still think Duke's just the best of them. John Schneider can finally make a name for himself in the big dance, have himself a good little playoff series. And then Louisville versus UCLA. I'm going to go UCLA once again here. I know they're a 7 seed, but they've been red hot. They're very good. Before the season started, they were supposed to be a wagon. They had a slow start to the year. They've been red hot recently. I think they're going to take down Louisville in the Sweet 16 and move on to the Elite Eight. And now down to the South, Florida versus Vanderbilt. I want to pick Vanderbilt. I know they just won. This is the fun pick, but it's really hard to beat a team twice. It's really hard, especially when they're a team as good as Florida and you're a team like Vanderbilt, which doesn't have the most talent in the world. I think Florida's got it. I'm not that high on this game. I think this should be a good game, but I think Florida's got them beat here. And then down, we've got Houston versus Illinois. I don't think Houston will, any matchup that is not as much talent dependent and as much of a game where it's going to be who's out hustling, who's out working the other team. I think Houston's try-hardness will get them at least into the Elite Eight, and so I think that they can take down Illinois here. And now on to the West, Arizona versus Arkansas. Again, it's a little unfortunate, but these 1 seeds are so good, man. They are such good teams. I like Arkansas. I like their offense. I like Acuff. I think he'll be able to play hard, but he's only one man. Arizona's about 7 guys deep, who I think can all be the legitimate threats come March. I think they can all take over games. I just don't think Arkansas has that depth. And then Gonzaga versus Purdue. I think Purdue's got them here. I think Gonzaga's had a relatively simple run here to get to the spot, beat Kennesaw State, beat BYU. I think when they face a real test in Purdue, they're going to be outmanned and outgunned. I think Purdue's got this one in the bag, playing in a really competitive Big Ten conference, not winning the Big Ten championship, I apologize, but having a good run, having good players. I think Purdue's going to take this game. And now finally down to the Midwest, we've got Michigan versus Alabama. I sound like a broken record here, but I think Michigan's going to take it. These 1 seeds are so good. Won the Big Ten. Alabama, good team. I don't think that they're going to have the physicality to hang with Michigan. Michigan's got the guard play. They've got the wing play. They've got it all. Alabama's got guard play, but their bigs are a little bit hit or miss. They don't really defend as well. I think Michigan's going to be able to exploit that and win this game. And then finally down south, we're going to have down at the bottom here, we're going to have Iowa State versus Virginia. I don't want it to be too chalk, so I don't really know about this one. I just think Iowa State has too many guys who can get hot and who can win games single-handedly that Virginia really doesn't have as well of a shot here as compared to maybe if they played a worse team, but unfortunately that's not how it played out. They're running into Iowa State, who I think is a top 5 team in the whole thing. I think Iowa State's going to take this game. Moving on to the teams who I think are going to make the Final Four, the Elite Eight. I think as fun as UCLA is, I think I've got to pick Duke here. I mean, Duke just has too many players for UCLA to stack up with. I know I sound like a broken record talking about that. And look at this. Not a lot of people have UCLA. A lot of people have Duke in this matchup. I think Duke's going to just move on to the Final Four. I think that they're a very good team. They're a legit 1 seed. They've got the money. They've got the depth. Maybe they get upset here somewhere in the Eastern bracket, but I just think that they've got too much talent to lose. Now going down south, Florida versus Houston. I think Houston's going to win this one. Again, I think their try-hardness is going to be a legit threat for Florida. They've got the guard play, Kingston Flemings. They've got Emmanuel Sharp, who's been here for as long as I've been alive, pretty much. That guy can flat out shoot the ball. He always falls off a little bit in March, but I think that this could be the year. He's got the experience. Again, Florida is not a team that's lacking experience for sure. I mean, they won the whole thing last year. I just think that Houston's going to have the skill. I think they're going to be the better coach team, and I think they're going to be able to take down Florida this year. Going back up, now you've got Arizona, Purdue. This is Arizona's year. They're also really good. I know I've said this is their year for about 4 teams at this point, but there's just so much talent right now in college basketball. Some of these teams are so good. I think Arizona's got enough talent. They've got enough guys who can kill you, who can beat you. Is it going to be Braden Burry's co-Pete? Probably not, but is it going to be Braden Burry's? Is it going to be Jaden Bradley? They've got enough guys. I think that they're going to be able to take down Purdue. And then finally, in the Midwest, we have Michigan versus Iowa State. Michigan's just so good, man. I mean, every time I'm watching them play, they look like they are just a well-oiled machine. They started the year, I thought they were going to be the best team of all time, potentially. Weren't that good, but still are a legit 1 seed, and they fit in Ryan Hammer's trapezoid of excellence. That's what really matters. Do they fit in that triangle? I think Michigan's got it here. And now here we are in the Final Four. We have Duke, Houston, and then we have Arizona and Michigan. Not complete chalk, but I mean pretty damn close. I apologize if you want to see some upsets. I just think this is really what's going to happen. I think these are the teams who are going to make it to the Final Four. I think they're all absolutely legitimate teams. In the Final Four, though, in the first game, I'm going to have Duke over Houston. Houston, as good as they are, I just think Duke is that slightly bit better. I think they've got the better athletes who are more talented. Houston, how much can the power of friendship really win for you guys? I don't know. I think Duke's the better team here. And now out on the other side, we have Arizona versus Michigan. This is one that I've been fighting over a long time in my head. I really don't know. I don't have a favorite team here. I think these teams are I think there's a big 3 of teams. I think it's Duke, Arizona, and Michigan. And unfortunately for one of these teams, they're not going to make it to the national championship. But I think that I am going to actually predict Michigan here. As much as I like Arizona, as much as I think they're a good team, I just think Michigan. I could scratch my head over this game all day. I'm just going to take Michigan. I think that they've got Axel Lindenberg. I think he'll be the best player in the game. I think that matters a lot in college basketball. And now on to the national championship. I'm going to have the Duke Blue Devils. I know it's not the most exciting team in the world. I think that they're just the best team in the country right now. Will I get burned? Probably, and you guys can let me know all about it in the comments below. But Duke is my national champion. I think they're going to take down Michigan. If I had to guess, it'll probably be 150. I don't know. That's always a joke. But yeah, that's going to be my bracket. This is how it's going to be. I think that Duke is my national champion. I think that this is going to be the Final Four. And yeah, let me know anything you disagree with down in the comments below. Let me know if there's any sleeper teams that I'm missing out on or if you just want to hate on my chalk picks. But that'll be all I got for you guys today. Have a good rest of your day.